Hi, Lydia. Nice to
Hi,
see
Jenny.
you. So we've just completed the 6-week live online quantum EFT course. And I wanted to ask you a few questions about it, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Go ahead and tell us who you are and where you're from, and what it is that you really wanted to get out of the course, what called to you from it for it, and you know what sort of qualifications you've already got.
Okay, well, my name is Lidia Paula Ferreira. I'm Portuguese. I was born in South Africa and I lived there for 24 years before moving to Portugal. Very, very conservative country. And so when I came to Portugal, that's when I really had access to all these spiritual things, and it was truly wonderful. I'm a translator, very happy. I love what I do, but I want more out of life. But the good thing about having English as my first language is that I can get all these wonderful resources and then bring them to Portugal.
Yes.
If it were the other way around, I definitely wouldn't have access to a lot of things. What brought me to your course, it's actually quite fascinating because I learned about EFT just over 13 years ago. Did a lot of work on myself, a hell of a lot, but hardly ever worked with anyone because I was just terrified of doing that. And although I had done a lot of work, I often realized that there seemed to be something missing. I wanted to access information, but there was no way of accessing it. And so I actually ended up developing my own quantum EFT, although I didn't realize I was doing that. And that did help, but often I would be in the situation, reliving it. Then once I decided to tap on my little self, on my 3-year-old self, and then the 6-year-old self, and that did help, but there was still something missing. And it's one of the, I think what most brought me to your course in that specific moment in time was I've been struggling with my weight for over 10 years. And I don't overeat, I don't binge. All the reasons that people point out aren't mine.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because I'm in denial. No, it's just true. And I remember I'd been speaking to a friend of mine, and she said to me, I think you should do a regression. And I said to her, you know, you're right. Inside, I feel I should do that. And I said, do you know of anyone? She said, oh, I'm going to have to think. The people I've done it with, I haven't really enjoyed it. So she said, but look, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. So I turned on my computer to start working, and I always check my email first. And there was your email speaking about the quantum EFT course. And I thought, oh my God, this is about regression. I've just had this conversation. This is a sign. And then I looked through it. I thought, this is exactly what I want to do. But because of the money, although the money, I must admit, the price that you charge, that 444, that is my special number. Okay, I'm going to say this is the number that my guides have given me. So I definitely took that as a synchronicity as well. And I receive an email called Prescriptions from Heaven every day. And I decided the answer to doing the course is going to be in that email.
Yes.
And it said, if you keep doing things the same way as you have, you will never get beyond. And I thought, that's it. I have to take the extra leap. So I just emailed you and said, that's it, I'm in.
Yeah, that's great. Before you go on, that 444 I chose because 3 4s is 12, which is 3, which is a catalyst. And that's exactly what this course is all about. It's about finding and catalyzing that amazing being that you are and uncovering it. So it's a very catalytic course. So go on.
Fantastic. And in numerology, my destiny number, so the most important number in my chart is 12, which is 3. So another synchronicity.
Yes. I love the synchronicities that lead people to this course.
Yes. I'm not going to say struggling financially, but I have been, you know. So at the time I thought this is a huge investment. And for me, that means a huge commitment. At the time when I received your email, I was working 10 to 12 hours a day, which is very heavy. And I had been working like that for the past 4 to 5 weeks. So I was exhausted. I thought, I don't know how I'm going to get time to do the homework, but I thought I am going to do the homework. And I think it's very important. The more you dedicate yourself to a course, the more you get out of it.
Exactly.
And being someone that did the homework every week
Mm-hmm.
made a hell of a big difference to me. It really, really did. And I used to notice with the other people, while I was explaining how I had changed during that week from doing the exercises, I would see some of my colleagues going, oh, wow. And in their, on their faces was that, oh, I didn't do that.
I wish I'd done my homework just like Jenny said.
Yes, exactly. It was, about 2.5 hours a week, but it was investing in myself. I didn't look at it, I have to do this for Jenny. I have to do this for myself.
Yeah.
So one thing that I would say is very important is if you're going to do this course, take the time, go the extra mile and do the work. It makes such a big difference.
Yes. Yes.
Huge, huge, huge.
And your qualifications already before you did the course?
Okay, so I presume you're speaking about in self-development,
yes.
Right? I studied EFT for about 13 years, but that was self-study. And then 3 years ago, I actually did Sylvia Hartman's 3-day course. I actually did it the first time round. I translated the course, running translation, so that helped a lot. And the next year, I did the course while translating it as well. So there I had my formal qualifications because I thought if I get the formal qualifications, then I will feel more competent and will be able to work with others. Yeah. It didn't work, but still. So I have that. I did Reiki. I did... it's so difficult now to think of all the different things that I have done because a lot of them I have bought the courses and done them, so I don't have the certification.
Right. Did you do any hypnotherapy?
Not formally, but I have done a lot of that myself. It just comes very naturally to me. I did one of the big changes that was just before 13 years ago was the Ultramind system from Jose Silva. He used to do the Silva mind control method. Yeah. And then he brought out Ultramind. So I've always used his meditation to get to the theta level, for example, and work from there. And then it's just interviews that I used to see that I sort of built up my own little process. What made a huge difference for me in your course, so I'd done quantum jumping, got Bert Goldman's quantum jumping, and that is how I used to access the information that I needed. So I would get the information, but that was it. I didn't know what to do with it. Sometimes I would tap, otherwise I would just sit with the information, think, what do I do with it? And your course, the huge difference is that when you go up for the higher learning, it changes your perspective completely.
And then of course we apply that higher learning.
Exactly. So when you come back down to that same situation, the situation has changed. So you are literally changing your past. And if I may, yes, and if I may say this, even before we did the regression formally on the course, I asked you for the recording so that I could do it by myself. Because as soon as I get information, I want to apply it immediately. And in the first regression that I did, I got the answer. So for me is, why can't I lose weight? That was the big thing. And in that first regression, I got that information. And it was so interesting because I came back down, applied the higher learning. But even as I was coming down, I was already a different person. And then towards the end of the meditation, I had a doubt. And I thought, I'm going to do this again. And I did the meditation again. And when I went in, that lifetime had already changed. And that was so amazing.
That's
so it's
being able to combine past life regression with higher learning, with soul level, basically of our agreements and our learning, and then apply it through quantum EFT as well as using the technique quantum EFT. To be able to sometimes access that higher learning as well, and apply it to our own current life now.
Yes. And what I notice is every time I do that, I change as a person. So I am growing very, very quickly. I notice, for example, I can say my back is a lot straighter, so I feel a lot taller. My personal power is incrementing enormously. So each time I do the process, even though I'm just working by myself, there is so much, I take so many steps forward, and obviously I will never go back because I've changed as a person, and that I've never found in any other course.
And have you noticed other people saying things to you like, wow, what shifted about you, or what are you doing at the moment, or?
It's quite funny. This obviously also has a message for me, but I notice that people will sort of take a step back, and they will say, oh, you've changed. So obviously they don't sit too well with it. I think it's because I'm starting to step into my personal power, which is something I've always wanted to do. And so other people are a little threatened by that. I'm not concerned about that.
It's increasing your energy power and your energy around you. And often people are taken aback by someone's empowerment because it's a physical feeling around you now.
Yes. Something I've been wanting to work on for all my life is becoming more assertive. Gently, but becoming more assertive. And now I find that I will reply and act according to that. And so people aren't really used to that yet. But inside, I sometimes want to laugh. And I think, yeah, you need to get used to this new person. I'm starting to get used to her, but you still need to get used to her.
Yeah.
But it's very, very good. It's a very, it's my own journey, but it definitely has spillover effects. Because then I notice, for example, the changes in my kids. They are the ones that I'm closest to right now. And so I start seeing how they are growing a backbone, although I haven't even done anything with them.
Yes, they're just
so it's
your new.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you said you've done lots of courses throughout your developing years.
Yeah.
How has this one compared to others that you've done?
I think in relation to the others, even when there has been hands-on experience, I've gone there, I've received the information. Sometimes it's theoretical information that it's very good. I jot down, I think I must remember that, but it's not really applying that learning. With others, yes, with the EFT course, sure, I've made shifts in my life. But as I say, the game changer here is the higher learning and then tapping in that higher learning. Sometimes now when I do it, I'm a very sensitive person. And as I'm going up for the higher learning, sometimes I'm already crying. Crying for me is a sign that I'm on the right path. And it's even before I get there, the information is already filtering through and it's so loving. Even if it's a lesson, it is just given to me in such a loving way.
Beautiful. And that's what I love about this, is that the more that you practice that, the more that higher learning, you can just in everyday life, when you come across a situation, instead of reacting to it, you can go, what's the higher learning? And
yes
immediately, and you step out of that human reaction mode into a higher perspective at a soul level, and you act differently straight away.
Yes, I was forgetting that. I notice I may be driving or I'm doing something at home and I think, I'm just about to react. And then I think, no, what is the higher learning? And sometimes as I'm starting to ask the question, the information is already filtering through, which is wonderful. I think, okay, I don't need to be in a meditative state with my eyes closed to go up for all of this. It just starts filtering through. And the more I do it, the greater company I have. So the more I'm assisted. It's almost like an ongoing conversation. And obviously it depends on me.
Yes. And Cryon talks about that, is the more that we practice this. And of course, I find that by tapping, we're enhancing that. It's like turbo boosting that meld with innate, that meld with the higher self, so that we're walking around and in an instant we can say, what's that higher learning? And bang, it's there, and we are it.
Yes. It's so, for example, in the past, I did a course and I'm with someone and I realized this person needs that information. And what was that information? Oh, I need to go back to my books. With this, it's there instantaneously because it's been installed in me. I think that's a big difference. the information with this course has been installed. Each time we did a session, it was installed in me. And each time I do a regression, it is installed.
Yeah. And that's what I love about it. And of course, I got this technique through the teachings of Cryon, is that we're installing it from the multidimensional layers of our DNA, where all of our past lives are stored into our current DNA. So we're like overlaying it from the multidimensional into the three-dimensional, and we're activating it by having it speak to the blueprint of the stem cells, and we're tapping it in at the same time, all the higher learning, all the shifts, all the future ways we see of ourselves acting and behaving now that we have this installation, and then bringing it back. So yeah, it's about
that. And there's actually something interesting of what you've just said. Because it has been installed, I now act that way. Whereas with other courses, I receive the information, I think, okay, I now have to gradually integrate this into my life. And if you don't act on what you've just learned, then you don't actually install it. With this, while you were doing the meditation, it is already being installed. So it's as if you can't.
It's already there. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And also all those words, sometimes if I'm not totally tuned in, they're big words, fancy words. And yet I have felt it in practice. And then I understand what those fancy words meant. So, and that's also new. Normally I have to understand everything before, and then it will slowly filter through. Here it's almost the other way around. I did hear it during the meditation, but I wasn't consciously focusing on it. So it was installed, and then the next time I heard, oh, that's right, that's it. In the first meditation, for example, there was quite a traumatic scene, and I couldn't understand why I was rising up above the scene. And I kept on forcing myself to go down so that I could understand what was happening. And the second time I heard your meditation, I thought, it's here so that I don't suffer. So not consciously listening.
Yeah, I have that as part of the hypnosis, the pre-hypnotic suggestion that if at any time that if you feel uncomfortable in any way, you'll just naturally and easily rise above it and see it from a spiritual level without feeling.
Yes, yes. And with people that I've worked with, I make a point of saying that and stressing it gently, but stressing it, because I'm just scared that, something will come up, or they are scared that something will come up. And the people I've worked with have absolutely loved it. And something else that I really must say, on one day I did 3 past life regressions with 3 different people. And all 3 of them said to me, just before we started, I'm going to do this, but I don't think I'm going to go anywhere. I'm probably just going to be sitting here the whole time, because, all the times that I've tried before to do regressions, nothing worked.
Yes.
And I thought, well, don't be intimidated by this. So I just smiled like when I used to teach, not let anyone know what I'm feeling inside, just smile and said, look, this is the information I've been given with a lot of love, and I'm going to share it with you in the same way with a lot of love. Let's see where it takes us. And by the expressions on their faces, I could see that they were there.
Yeah.
And when they came out, all 3 of them said to me, I didn't want to come back. I just wanted to stay there. So I thought, okay, which meant they did go somewhere. Yeah. And all 3 of them said that they'd never had an experience like that before.
And that's the beauty of this, is that in only 6 weeks and an hour and a half of our live sessions, plus I expect you to do at least an hour session of practice in between, is that at the end of the 6 weeks, you have a tool that you can use with other people.
Yes.
Stuff like that. And a lot of the people, obviously, that you practiced with have done this sort of work before, and some had never done this work before, had barely done EFT, and yet they were able to follow the protocol and follow the exercise, and able to just trust the process. And yeah.
Yes. There's also something I'd like to say about the format. Because it's not very easy to go to Australia for one of your courses just out of the blue. This format was brilliant. I actually prefer courses that take a while to do, because from one session to the other, in this case, weekly sessions, there's the opportunity for growth and for integration. And so when I come back to the next session, I'm no longer the Lidia that I was last week.
Yes.
And that kept on happening.
Yeah.
And to me, that is brilliant. The sessions were not that long. They were at a time that was convenient for me. I set aside that time, even though I have a very busy schedule, and that I really used to look forward to that. And also because it's spread out over 6 weeks, you tend to develop really good, strong relationships with the people. If it were just a one-off, oh, I like that person. No, but this, you are all growing together.
Yeah.
And that's also fabulous.
I love the interaction that people get. And of course, we do it just like this one, live by Zoom, only we have a bunch of people. And it's usually convenient to their time zone. So you were in the European time zone group, but there was also a US time zone group where we had Australians and New Zealanders and as well mixed with them, and you were able to cross connect through the Facebook group as well.
Yes.
And that's what I love, is seeing the growth in you all as you just go, okay, I'm going to try this, and with that, without really fearing the failure, you just go ahead and try it and trust the process and trust me and the process. And that's why I like to also bring in the psychometry exercise of where you trust that connection to your guides and higher self as well.
The good thing about this is because we had to swap sessions with other people, we've grown into quite a close-knit group, and I actually suggested that we carry on with the sessions, and we have been doing that.
That's fantastic.
And working on our stuff, so it's really, really nice. Yes,
I love
it's
that.
a spillover effect.
That's happened with other groups that I've run, and I think it's a testament to how close you do become on these courses, and how much people open up and really share about deep soul level issues that are occurring for them now. It is a deep course, and even though some people may feel very vulnerable, I think they still feel very safe in this atmosphere.
Vulnerable, yes, safe, and also nurtured. Therefore, they feel that they can open up, because there are people that are receptive. They're not going to judge them. They're going to receive them. And that's so important. Really, really wonderful.
Thank you so much for participating in the 6-week course.
Thank you.
And anyone else who wants to do any future courses, I do also run the certification program in this course. The next one, there's always next ones coming up, but you can find it on quantumeft.com.au/workshops. And it's been a pleasure having you participate, Lidia, and thank you for also continuing the groups with the rest of the participants. And I look forward to seeing you growing even more and putting your love and light out there into the world.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lidia.
Yeah.
Bye.